Hi everyone, it's Cindy Eiler, and all day today I keep getting the messages to talk about Atlantis. And it's such a huge subject that I don't even know where I'm going with it tonight. I mean, that's why I hesitate on making a lot of different videos, because the topics all sound great, but then when I think about, okay, but how am I going to narrow down whatever I'm going to talk about in, 30 minutes or whatever? It just seems like a really difficult task for me. And so anyway, I kind of have some ideas about what I'm going to talk about, but really I'm just here with an open mind, and really I'm just going to tune in and see what's coming up for me and what I'm supposed to be telling you all. So there's several things I want to talk about as far as Atlantis today. And it has a lot to do with not only just Atlantis, but, past lives and parallel lives. And again, those are subjects that, they're huge too. And if you go to my blog, soultravelegypt.wordpress.com, I do talk about parallel lives and past lives and soul destiny and things like that. So you can get more information there. So tonight, in regards to Atlantis, again, I'm only going to tell you the information that I get, that I channel, that is true to my heart, that resonates with me. There's so many people talking about Atlantis and their beliefs and what they think, and that's cool. But, I don't rehash anybody else's stuff. You can, read or watch other people's things and see how that resonates with you. So there were some things that came up about Atlantis even today that I didn't realize, that I'm going to share with you. So anyway, the first thing I want to talk about is, past lives and parallel lives. First of all, to me, that I believe that we're living all of the lifetimes at one time, parallel lives. I use past life, I use that term just as a term to have, just to something to relate to another lifetime, and maybe a lifetime that you don't remember, or sometimes you might remember it. But a lot of times in my dreams, I have seen other lifetimes that I know that I'm living with, even can be with the same different people. And it could be like with the same person in another lifetime, where in that lifetime they're really not nice to you and mean, but in this lifetime they seem really nice. And I had that experience for many years. And it was really interesting because every time I'd have those dreams, he was horrible to me in those dreams, horrible. And then in real life, I mean, not that he was an angel, but he certainly wasn't being that much of a pig as he was in my dreams. So I was like, wow, I'm like living these parallel lives with the same person, and that's how he is in that lifetime, and this is how he is in this lifetime. Well, things all unfolded. I mean, it was many, many years of this, where I actually found out that he was very much like that parallel life, but lying and doing a lot of those things. So that was kind of interesting. It was like the other lifetime was warning me or telling me. But anyway, that's besides the point. My point is that if we're living all lifetimes at the same time, of course you may not, I mean, your soul is like amazing. So you may not even know all of the things. Of course you probably don't. I don't know anybody who does. But the point is, like with Atlantis, there's many things that I experience in this lifetime that take me to those memories of Atlantis. And it's interesting because I was always one of those people, like I resist like going with the crowd. Like Archangel Michael, you know, everybody loves Archangel Michael. Everybody talks about Archangel Michael. So early on in my starting to work with Archangel Michael, I always resisted. I said, oh, I work with Archangel Raphael and Gabriel and any angel except Archangel Michael, because everybody was like, oh, Archangel Michael, Archangel Michael. And I was just like, everybody goes with Archangel Michael. I'm not going with him. Well, long story short, now he's like my main guy. Not that the other angels aren't there, but he's always been the one with me constantly, him and Raphael. But anyway, so the same thing with Atlantis. You hear so many people going, oh, I was in Atlantis. I'm an Atlantean high priestess. And, you know, they're like, oh, yes, I have my crystal. And I will, this is bringing me back memories of whatever. I'm just joking around, not putting anybody down, really. It's just like, I just don't go with, I don't hang with that. So I would just always like, whatever, Atlantis, okay? I was just never really, in fact, I would look at Lemuria more because less people talk about that. Lemuria is less flashy. They were more raw people, like, you know, I don't know, steps above cave people, definitely, but they just didn't have all the glorified, oh, the crystalline stuff and all that. So anyway, again, I was like resisting Atlantis because of what everybody else was saying and doing. But if you know me, I take people on spiritual journeys all around the world to amazing places. And through these journeys, it's amazing because I'll go somewhere and I'll have a memory. I'll have this feeling in my soul and my heart, deeper than my heart, like a really, I mean, I don't even, you know, not even thinking about connecting anything, but I will be somewhere and go, oh my gosh, this is just like Atlantis. And so how would I know it's just like Atlantis if I wasn't in Atlantis, right? But I found myself more and more relating different places with Atlantis. But it would also make sense that you would travel and have memories of different places. Because, like, you know, just there's, if you're living all these parallel lives, that means you're connecting with all these different energies. And you may be in this lifetime not actually, you know, you might live in, I don't know, Wisconsin, and you're not living in Atlantis. But that doesn't mean that you don't have parts of you in Atlantis. So like when I go to Egypt, I feel the strong pull of Atlantis in the way that of the temples, all the amazing, amazing ancient temples there. Reminds me when I'm in there, especially when I'm like in, well, I mean, I remember my Egyptian connections in there too, so it's not always Atlantis, but I can definitely relate because when you're in the temple and you're in the main chambers, like in the Isis temple in her main chamber, or in Hathor's temple, or any of the temples in the main chamber, especially for me, and it may not be the same for everybody, but especially for me, in the temples where they are honoring the goddess, I feel it very strongly because here I go. I know I was a high priestess in Atlantis. No, but I can relate to that, okay? Because there was high priestesses in Egypt. So, you know, it interacts with each other. And also Egypt is built on crystal energy, crystal granite. It is, everywhere you go, there is like this rose quartz granite that's just, I mean, it's in the ground. It's abundant. It's everywhere. And that's what they make that most of the temples with, was this rose quartz granite. So you're always in this amazing crystal love energy that can be felt on so many levels. So that reminds me of Atlantis, because Atlantis had it, to me, you know what, just like close your eyes, let me help you feel Atlantis. I'm going to send Atlantean transmission right through the screen to you. Okay, just open your heart and open your third eye, which is located on your forehead. And imagine this city. I just see a crystalline city, just like, it's just so beautiful. It's just light. It's made of light. And crystalline cities, like the buildings just look like crystals to me. And it's not that I see a whole city or anything. I'm just seeing parts of it. I see a lot of green mountains around, and I see a lot of pure fresh water with dolphins in it. And even whales. And I just feel like this lightness, but not only the lightness, but the crystal energy, it raises your vibration. And you might feel a, like a pressure on your third eye, on your forehead. And that's your third eye really connecting with it. So the crystalline energy feels almost like vibrating, I guess I'd put it that way, and very high. Just breathe, take a nice deep breath. Now feel the energy around you. And I want you to imagine this most beautiful temple that you're walking up to. And to me, it's just gleaming. It's like a light bluish crystal temple. And I'm walking in, and it's very sacred feeling in here. And where they're taking me to is the healing room. And in there are lots of crystal healing tools. Lots of large crystals with pointed ends. And just different kinds of crystal healing tools in there. And a crystal healing bed. And just imagine you're laying on that crystal healing bed, and let's do some crystal healing on you. So just feel that crystal healing. And of course, crystal bowls. And the scent feels light, like, to me, it smells like lotus oil. It's like the smell of it is beautiful and light, and rose would be close, but lotus to me more. And just feel the purity in this room. And again, it's not even about healing. That isn't even the word. It's about purifying yourself. Healing indicates there's something wrong, and it's really about purification, just lifting anything that's not purified energy that's around you. So as we're feeling this, I was told that Atlantis didn't really sink. It's that humans are just looking for, they just think that they have to find the physical evidence on Earth. So I'm going to just say the words as I'm hearing them. So they waste their time digging around and trying to look, when really, what's more important is to tap into the energy of Atlantis and remember it and be there. Because if you start feeling these connections, like you really know on a soul-based level that you were there, it means you're still there. What I heard as I'm channeling right now, I hear from the Sirians. They're the ones telling me that Atlantis is still very here. It's very much alive. It's in the ethers. So they're relating it to me just like the Mayans. When people thought the Mayans disappeared, like, where did they go? Did they all die? No, they ascended. They went to higher levels of ascension, which all of us are doing. And when they went to these higher levels of ascension, they became etheric to us. We couldn't see them. But there's people like me and many other people that channel the Mayans all the time. They're so there. You know, when we travel to the Yucatan, especially when we're in the jungle, I find myself in the jungle. And, you know, I've slept at the lodge right next to Chichen Itza, and that is really some intense stuff there. Really intense. I won't say that I actually slept the whole night. I was trying to sleep, and I was like in this weird sort of sleep, but it wasn't a sleep. It was like I was put into this trance, and the Corn King talked to me all night long about this ceremony he wanted me to do at Chichen Itza on December 21st, 2012. And you know, I have a trip scheduled to go there, and nobody has signed up for that trip, so I wasn't thinking I'm going, but now I'm like channeling this, and I know I need to be there. I need to be there that day. So if anybody's guided to go, contact me. And I'm going to go and do the ceremony, and it's going to be so powerful. So anyway, going back to the Mayans, they're so very much there. So the same thing with the Atlanteans, what the Syrians, and I actually have some Atlanteans right here with me. But they're also in Syrian. It's Syrian. They're also Syrian. So, I mean, okay, let's go back to all these lifetimes we're living. So wouldn't it make sense that there would be some Atlanteans here experiencing a physical presence, while there could be some Atlanteans still experiencing their presence in Atlantis? And wouldn't it make sense that there would be Atlanteans that are Syrians? And wouldn't it make sense that there are Atlanteans in other universes? Because I've actually met some that came in from another universe. I know about other universes, and I am in communication with other beings from other universes, and there's one that is made up of Atlanteans. And I teach this stuff in Light Activation Healing System, and I really need to change the name from healing. I want to call it Light Activation Purification System or something else. Healing is the old way of thinking. Nobody needs to be healed. We're all perfect. We just need to keep purifying ourselves to ascend. So anyway, wouldn't it make sense that there would be Atlanteans on all different levels and lifetimes? We're all spread out. Doesn't mean that we're not in Atlantis anymore or we're part of it. Now, where is the pure Atlantis place? Okay, it's in the ethers. But we can get there, we can travel there, just like we do with the Mayans, okay? So it's just like just closing your eyes and tapping into it. And feeling that space. Now, I heard, because I see the dolphins in Atlantis, and again, I was like, oh yeah, of course, everybody talks about the dolphins in Atlantis. But the Atlantis is very much connected to Sirius. And dolphins are from Sirius. And with Light Activation Purification Healing System, it's Light Activation Healing right now, but we work with the dolphins in our DNA and actually connect with the dolphins very much in Hawaii. Every time we're in Hawaii swimming in the bay, if we start sending out DNA frequencies for our DNA reactivation healing, the dolphins always come to us. And they start swimming right under us and doing sacred geometry shapes underneath us, and they are like pinging us or sonaring us with higher frequencies, connecting us with higher consciousness. So again, then Hawaii also connects with that Atlantean energy. When I was taking a group to Peru a few years ago, we were at where were we? There's one of the ruins in the Sacred Valley where you climb up to the top, there is even evidence of Atlantis. So we don't have to go digging around. People are just like searching the waters. I mean, okay, I'm sure you might find something. I don't know what. But, you know, I'm also getting Benimi. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. I've never been there, but those islands down off the Florida has a very strong connection to Atlantis. So everywhere you travel, you can find these connections that reconnect you to these feelings. In my other video talking about the underground people of Mount Shasta, I talked about when we went in the other underground and we went inside of ourselves, into our soul space, and how there was no need for talking, and how I felt that connection. And it was just like when we communicated, we were looking at each other, and it was just, I don't know what the communication actually was, but we had communication through our eyes and our heart. And it wasn't like we were trying to send love or do anything specific like that, but you'd look and you knew you just had some sort of a deep communication, but it was just infused with love energy. And I knew that was what it felt like in Atlantis. So it was like, I may not even be thinking about Atlantis, but then I go through something and it takes me there again. So, you know, you can be different things in different lifetimes and still have connections to Atlantis. You never know what part of you is still having connection with other places and other things. So no matter what you do or what you are, you can have connections everywhere. But really being true to yourself and really finding those things that just open your heart, you know, that's when you know you've connected to that heart space of Atlantis. So let's see, what kind of things do I know about Atlantis? I know that they were highly intuitive. They used intuition and being within themselves, being like true, living from their soul spirit, rather than needing to have to talk all the time. So it reminds me of that underground experience that I told you about. But also, are you the kind of person that doesn't always feel like you need to be talking? I mean, I'm like that, believe it or not. I don't really like to talk on the phone or anything like that. I'd much rather be able to just feel things or transmit things without having to talk. I mean, sometimes we have to, but I'm not into it. So you know, you hear more and more about these children that are being born that are talking later in their stage of life than normal. Well, you know, they're highly intuitive. They don't find the need to talk. They can communicate without it. And, you know, I do a lot of sessions on children who are having physical issues or emotional issues. And, you know, there was one client I had, she's a little girl, and she has a lot of physical disabilities. And one thing that it leads to is that she can't really talk and explain what's going on with her. And when I go into these sessions, I can talk to the child. And, you know, of course, this child was like in Australia and I'm in US, but I can do, you know, I have clients all over the world. I don't need to be there in person. And I'm communicating with this little girl, and she's like saying, you know, tell my mom I can hear her. She doesn't need to keep repeating herself over and over again. I heard her. And so I, you know, could teach her mother how to communicate with her daughter in a better way, how she's picking up on the messages, what the mom can do to help the daughter. And it was just really eye-opening for the mother, because she was like, oh my gosh, I wish I would, you know, I could have thought of these things before. That's amazing. now I understand how to communicate with my daughter, even if, you know, she doesn't talk. There's other ways to do it. And it also taught her to back up off of her daughter a little bit and give her some space. And at the same time, her daughter was just so happy to have someone to talk to and relate to, and just wanted to be accepted for who she is and not looked at like there's something wrong with her just because she's not talking or can't talk or whatever. And so every week, you know, we would have these sessions, and the little girl would always be waiting for me. And, you know, she would tell me something, or, you know, she'd have something to say about her mom or whatever. So it was just so cool. It was just so cool to do those kind of sessions. So, I mean, you might have different things that really resonate with you when it comes to Atlantis. So they were highly intuitive. They were very healthy. They only ate high vibrating foods. And like tonight, I was so happy because I got another stock of goji berries. And when I was eating those, you know, they're such a superfood. They're so good for you. I heard that Atlanteans eat goji berries, so that was kind of cool. They took impeccable care of their body, mind, and spirit. They didn't go into fear. It never even crossed their mind to be in that space. They just trusted and believed that life was beautiful, and they created a beautiful life around them. Okay, a beautiful life around them. And so, you know, that's the same messages that we're getting about, you know, going into the new world as the gap gets bigger and bigger between people who are awake that really want to live in a world of love and sharing and community and a clean environment and just well-being, compared to the other like side of the gap that people want to keep living like they're living now, like in fear, under the government, you know, tied to their jobs, whatever. You know, and it's like, with this gap getting bigger and bigger, I keep giving people the message that I'm getting is to create a, you know, think about what, if you could create a world that you want, what would that world look like? What would it feel like? What would it be like? And that's where I'm asking everybody to put their attention to creating, because the more of us that can do that, the faster we're going to create that amazing new world. So that's just another thing. So let me just see. Okay, I'm getting the message that connecting with the Sirians and Atlanteans, the more you can fill your body with light, and as I'm channeling, I'm getting really warm because they're coming in so strong. Just feel the light being infused into you right now. This transmission of light is coming through to you from the Sirians/Atlanteans. And they are the Atlanteans that are in Sirius. And they're saying the more you can every day consciously anchor light within your being, the lighter you will become and the more positive you will be. And the more connected you'll be to all that is, not just Atlantis, but all that is. The more you can surround yourself with positive people and beauty, the closer you come to remembering those lifetimes of Atlantis. This will bring you so much joy. And can you feel the tingles coming through? The heat, the light, they're just beaming it through to you. They're saying, open your hearts and lift yourselves up through your hearts. So just imagine your heart opening nice and big, and lift yourself up through your heart. And be whoever you are. Be whoever you can be. Forget about everyone else when it comes to your happiness. I mean, of course, within reason. I mean, you're not just going to just tell everybody F you, or maybe you are. But More what they mean is stand up for who you are and be okay with who you are and live who you are. You didn't come here to change and conform. Okay, conformity is not a word that brings joy and opens your heart. Okay, think of words that open your heart and bring you joy. Okay, let's just go through some. Love, happiness, freedom, beauty, peace, well-being, delicious, amazing, over the top. I'm getting spontaneous, luscious, abundance, light, light, light. Fill yourself with light. That's all you really need to do right now, is just imagine where you want to be if you could create a world that you want to live in, and fill yourself with light. I just keep getting that message. Fill yourself with light, fill yourself with light, fill yourself with light. The more you fill yourself with light, the more that is not resonating with you will release. Okay, the dark, the negative, the not good feelings cannot reside in the same space as light. It can't. So just feel or imagine light infusing into your body, especially your mind. Okay, picture liquid white light going into every nook and cranny of your brain, and through your bones, and through your muscles, and through your skeletal system, your organs. Run that liquid white light through your organs and through your blood and every cell of your body, and then out into your aura, which your aura contains your emotional body, your mental body, and your spiritual body, and then beyond, because you are connected to all that is. So, where do we go from here? I don't know. That was just kind of a mixed bag of information, but the Atlanteans just want you to fill yourself with light. Do you see them? Do you feel them? They're so here. Like there was one right in front of me just now. It was like almost like I couldn't even see the screen. There was one standing behind me. This is not made up stuff, okay? Just because you can't physically see something doesn't mean it's not there. And you know what? A lot of us can see things that other people can't see. Trust that. And always, always, always work with the beings of light. Always set that intention, working with the beings of light. Because what I'm hearing is at Atlantis, there weren't only beings of light there. That there were some people that were doing some underhanded things, appearing to be of light, but really not of the light. So always ask to work with the highest beings of light. So if you find yourself drawn to crystals and crystal wands and working with purifying people's bodies and helping them to ascend and feel better, and you like sparkly, pretty things, and you feel a connection to the dolphins and the stars, pretty good feeling. You probably have some memories of Atlantis. You can visit Atlantis anytime, just like you can visit the Mayans anytime, just like you can visit the angels anytime, just like you can visit within God's pure light anytime. Okay, you can go to those dimensions and visit. And physically, you can go to different places, like when I take people to Egypt, which I'm doing a Peru trip next June, and we will be on Machu Picchu right on summer solstice, so it'll be completely magical. And I'm taking people to Egypt next October in 2013, and we will be at the Ramses Sun Festival, which only happens twice a year, which is amazing and magical. But we go to all kinds of temples and magical places, and you will feel those connections, not only to your ancient roots, but also to Atlantis. Also, there's so many connections. When you're in Peru, you feel connections to Egypt, the Mayans, Atlantean. I mean, it's so cool to go to these power places because you get these connections. And when I take you there, I show you, I help you feel them, I take you there. And we just have these amazing transformational times. So anyway, just keep filling yourself with light. And know that you can travel the dimensions to connect with the Atlanteans anytime. Now there is the Atlantis dimension, plane, whatever you want to call it, that is within our universe. But I have been drawn more and more out to the Atlantis universe that is accessible through these other universes that I was shown that are out there. I have been shown 7 universes. And this is all stuff that goes into light activation healing system. And one of them is the Atlanteans, and I have contact with them. And they actually talk to me a lot and teach me progressive things. And really, it seems like all the beings that I work with, they're all about helping with ascension, helping us to move forward in our spiritual growth and our personal growth, and remembering who we are, which just going back to our divinity of who we are. So you can explore it too. And anyway, I'm sure I'll be having more Atlantean videos coming up, but this was just, I want to wrap this up as saying that this was, I think what they wanted me to point you to most is your connections that you could be feeling about Atlantis in different areas of this planet Earth that we live on, but also being aware that, you know, there are Atlanteans like you and me that are planted here on Earth and other dimensions all at the same time. So it's okay, and we are made up of a lot of things. I'm made up of so many things. The more I travel, the more things I know I'm made up of. And, you know, some things are stronger than other things. You don't have to try to be everything. That's one thing. Don't try to be anything. Don't, you know, have to say, oh, I'm this and I'm that. It doesn't matter. Whatever you need for your growth or your next steps or your ascension will be shown to you. Sometimes I'm not thinking about Atlantis. Other times I'm remembering Atlantis. Sometimes I'm thinking of my ancient past lives. And other times I'm remembering that I'm an underwater person, a water person in the Nile. So it just depends on where your growth is and what your learning is. And a lot of times you're remembering things that you have to move through to release some old energies that are holding you back. And other times it's uplifting and amazing things that are there to lift you higher. So whatever, you know, comes to you at any given moment, just ponder it, think about it. Don't push it away and say, oh, I'm just probably thinking about that. If it came to your mind, it's probably for a reason. So they're asking me to wrap this up now for some reason, but I will do that because they're kind of like pushing me on my head and giving me a little bit of a headache. So anyway, that's all I'm going to share for you now, and I hope you enjoyed this information, and let's see what the next one that comes up. We'll see what happens. All right. I hope you like those little effects I did. I just found them and I thought they were kind of cool, but they won't turn off now. So anyway, Cindy Eiler, If you like this video, share it with your friends on Facebook, or like this video below, subscribe to my channel above, and check out my website for all our amazing trips at www.healingyoursoul.com, and friend me on Facebook. Hope to see you again. Talk to you later. Bye.